My family, hi. So in light of, what has been happening, especially this.
And this does bother me, is that you've seen people within Bibi's cabinet who have come out and attacked the deal and in some ways very personally attacked the President of the United States. And I guess my message to them would be twofold. Number one, Donald J. Trump is the only head of state in the entire world who is sympathetic to the nation of Israel at this moment in time. And he happens to be the head of state of the world superpower. If I was in the cabinet of the Israeli government, I might not be attacking the only powerful ally that I have anywhere left in the entire world. And the second message I would give to some of those cabinet members, Bibi, to his credit, has not gone down this path, but to some of these cabinet members in Israel who are attacking the President of the United States, the other thing that I would say is that over the last 3 months, 2/3 of the defensive weapons that have protected your homeland have been built by American hands and paid for by American tax dollars. The problem for Israel is not Donald J. Trump. And anybody in Israel who thinks their biggest problem is the President of the United States needs to wake up and smell the reality of the situation that country is in.
And we're also seeing this.
I'll tell you what, Israel's fighting Hezbollah too long and too many people are being killed. And you don't have to knock down an apartment house every time you're looking for somebody. Because there are a lot of people in those apartment houses, and they're not all Hezbollah, that I can tell you.
I saw this in the spirit. He went at them alone. And then I saw in the spirit what was called a great betrayal. And they called this a great betrayal. I saw it in the news articles. There was an escalation of things coming with Israel and Benjamin acting alone.
So I actually remember sharing some of those prophecies, before they have started, to unfold and the like. And as a follow-up to some of these things that he said and some of these things that are happening, I want you to listen to, more of this, what is to happen next and the like. This is what Brother Brendan is to say.
I saw Erica on the stage again, and people thought, why do you pray for Erica? Because God said to.
And let me try to share some prophetic words with you where he made mention of things that have to do with, what we are to expect in the days ahead concerning President Trump, Erica Kirk, and J.D. Vance, and also his wife, the J.D. Vance's wife.
I saw President Trump not making it. I saw an anointing of passing, and President Trump didn't make his full term. Something happens. That's all I'm going to say. I saw Vice President J.D. Vance become president. I saw Rubio become vice president. In this, I saw the Lord said, pray for them. I heard it very clear. As I saw this happen, and I'm not going to tell you what happened, I saw an event and I saw J.D. Vance come on the scene. When I saw this, I saw Erica Kirk again. And Erica Kirk was consoling America because of her experience with her late husband. I saw her comforting people because she had walked through the valley. I saw to pray for Erica Kirk. The Lord put it on my heart very strong. I saw an attempt against her life to keep praying for President Trump. But Usha, in the vision, in this visitation that I saw her pregnant with child, and she was 8 months to 9 months, and she was standing behind a door as she was listening to her husband. J.D. Vance was now president of the United States, and Erica was there. I could see Erica sitting on the couch, and she was talking about losing her husband and how she was trying to console the United States of America for President Trump in this visitation. And I saw 7 oak trees that were blacked. I saw the moment this happened that there was a major war that took place because of President Trump's life. And it was a very detailed vision.
So that was a lot right there. So let me just continue to share with you what he said. I don't know the date, but he actually said it quite recently and before some of these events actually took place, because he's going to be talking about Ukraine and Russia and also Israel and America.
Why would you not pray for her? Why would you not pray for this young girl? Why would you not pray for her kids? You don't know these people. When you sit there and tell me all the time, I believe she murdered her husband, that's a very harsh thing to say about somebody that you don't know, or you really truly don't know, other than Candace Owens telling you that she did. So you don't go down the conspiracies. I said Candace Owens was sitting behind a computer, and there was a rabbit beside her, and she was following the rabbit hole. But in doing so, her mind got, and she went into a straitjacket. I saw a van trying to take her out with conspiracy theories, and I said, pray for Candace Owens. I've told you specific things concerning these people. I said, what we are praying about Erica for is that she does not become a Marilyn Monroe in the days ahead.
Have you ever heard about the Marilyn Monroe theory?
No, what is that one? What about her?
So there's a theory about Marilyn Monroe being assassinated by the Kennedys.
No way.
You never heard about this?
No.
So this was huge back in the day. This was huge. So Marilyn Monroe, right? She was almost famous for having an affair with John F. Kennedy.
Yeah, that was the whole thing.
She was known about that, right?
Yeah.
Now, what happened was, allegedly, it wasn't just John F. Kennedy, but also her brother. Now, Marilyn Monroe didn't necessarily fall in love with John F. Kennedy, but really fell in love with his brother.
No shit.
And listen. So pretty much what happened was, she fell so in love with him, and she was trying to convince him to leave his family and leave his wife so they can be together. But he wouldn't do that, right? Now, one time, this is like a famous video too, and a famous song. You might recognize it, where she sang, "Happy birthday, Mr. President."
What? No.
Remember that song?
Yeah.
So that was like a huge performance. And apparently that was her trying to leak the information that they had affairs, that she was doing things with the Kennedys, right? The theory goes, so as we know, Marilyn Monroe, she died of a drug overdose. That's what it said as is.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And she died from taking sleeping pills, and specifically the drug and a chemical compound that's in her system was from the sleeping pills.
Yeah.
The first detective on the scene to investigate Marilyn Monroe's body said there's foul play, and it was likely that somebody injected her with this compound, this chemical compound, the same chemical that's in the sleeping pills. So it wasn't her. Now, they didn't find any trace of a pill bottle, water for her to take the pills down, anything like that, right? Now, this is where it gets crazy.
Yeah.
So her caretaker, her house taker, she fled the country the same night.
Oh, nah.
She fled the country the same night Marilyn Monroe died.
Oh, nah.
So that's a bit of the story concerning Marilyn Monroe's issue. So let's continue.
I said, what we are praying about Erica for is that she does not become a Marilyn Monroe in the days ahead. Well, that's a very harsh thing to say. I see what I see. The Lord said, pray for her. Then I saw a man rising up beside her to try to marry her. That was not right. That he was trying to use her for her political position of authority. That there was somebody that would try to be a man to be her husband. That was not the right fit. That he was a man that was just after her notoriety. I pray for her if she gets married again. I pray for her that she keeps right. Because I saw God wanted to use her for a huge youth revival.
So I guess what we're now getting into, this one has to do with Russia and Ukraine.
There is no more cat and mouse game. We're done. And I saw unconventional weapons of war that we've never seen before coming out of Russia. For I saw long-range missiles being given to Ukraine in the days ahead, and they would strike targets deep within Russia.
And before he actually, after he said this, we're now seeing this in the news.
EU leaders are convening in Brussels with Ukraine high on the agenda. Kyiv just launched its biggest attack on Moscow since the war began. Moscow says nearly 200 drones were shot down overnight, part of a broader Ukrainian barrage on Russian territory. And the Kremlin says the latest Ukrainian attack set back the prospects for a face-to-face meeting between Presidents Putin and Zelensky.
It is fair to say that Ukraine's latest attacks does not bring personal contacts between the head of the Kyiv regime and our president any closer, does not bring them closer. Europeans are clearly insisting that the war must continue, basing this on a completely incorrect and false assumption that the situation on the battlefield is supposedly shifting in favor of Ukrainian forces, which is categorically untrue. From this point, they are trying to influence Trump to take a more clearly pro-Ukrainian position.
Sebastian Shukla is following developments from Berlin. So, Seb, what more can you tell us about what happened here with these attacks and that response we've just had there from the Kremlin?
Yeah, Chrissy, I think the ferocity of these attacks last night is clear to see and very, very evident from those images. If we can play them again, there is one in particular that I'd like viewers to see, which is the Moscow city skyline covered with black plumes of smoke. And that is just a real indictment about the level of the attack that the Ukrainians unleashed this morning or late last night on the Russian capital. The focus was an oil refinery here. I mean, it has left several people wounded. There are no dead. But the fact that the Kremlin or the Kyiv have been able to launch an attack like this, as is becoming the kind of the symbolic way that both sides are fighting each other at the moment in this war, nevertheless sends a message to the Russian people and to the Russian president that Kyiv is able to bring the war home to Russia. And as the Ukrainian president called it a little while ago when he was at NATO, he said that all of these attacks are completely and utterly justified as retribution for Moscow's attacks on Kyiv. And subsequently, we've been hearing from the Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelensky, too, speaking ahead of that NATO summit that you just mentioned. Take a listen to what he had to say about the attacks last night.
We have the tools, and they are strong enough to put Russia on path where diplomacy becomes the only choice. We all see that Putin is now relying on one lasting thing: constant missile attacks. And he has ballistic missiles, so we need anti-ballistic capabilities.
So anti-ballistic capabilities there, Chrissy, what he's talking about is there has obviously been huge development in this warfare on both sides towards drone warfare, both sides able to attack each other with consistent ferocity. What the Ukrainians are hoping now is that attacks like these are eventually able really to force President Putin to the negotiating table, and the message that he's sending around Brussels today, the meeting at NATO that I mentioned, the upcoming EU summit, is to try to bring the Europeans back together as they have been for some time now, just to refocus and double down efforts and remind President Putin that Kyiv and Brussels are able to hurt him where it hurts the most.
For I saw long-range missiles being given to Ukraine in the days ahead, and they would strike targets deep within Russia, Moscow, these areas, and there was a provoking because of an acceleration of war. As EU, the Europe will say, we will back you. I've warned you of this. We will back you and give you what you want to help you win the war.
And to be honest, it's happening, and I actually felt this was really spot on. So we really need to keep on praying, for those people, for the leaders. And there's also something else he said. I believe it has to do with the United States of America and Israel.
I told you J.D. Vance will be polished. They'll try to push him forth in the days ahead really strong. I warned you a couple weeks ago. He'll start getting his platform, and he'll start pushing away from President Trump, especially by midterms, and he will push away from the agenda of what you call the Make America Great, and he'll have his own agenda, his own thing. But I saw an anointing coming upon Rubio, and the Lord said, pray for Rubio. For he will slay his tens of thousands, and the other one will slay his thousands. And I will use Rubio. And I saw a Rubio being blessed as J.D. Vance will become jealous of the accomplishments of the other. Watch what happens. And the Lord said, you must pray for what's coming concerning the plague, concerning who's over your area in this time frame. Concerning this, you do not want the governor's race for what they're planning to have people that will want to lock you down. like it was with the last one. Do you think we can stop the plague? Every single time the Lord said, you can lessen this. They have a planned event.
Donald J. Trump is the only head of state in the entire world who is sympathetic to the nation of Israel at this moment in time.
Benjamin Netanyahu is speaking out forcefully against one of the main points of this memo, which is a ceasefire that includes Lebanon.
If I was in the cabinet of the Israeli government, I might not be attacking the only powerful ally that I have anywhere left in the entire world.
So, dude, you remember what I told you was coming out of this? What I saw about this? I said they'll call it a great betrayal in the days ahead.
Completion. Now, I saw the Axios report, that Netanyahu is fuming. That's not reflective of the conversations that I've had with him, but maybe he's saying something to somebody else that he's not saying to me. What I will say, and this does bother me, is that you have seen people within Bibi's cabinet who have come out and attacked the deal, and in some ways very personally attacked the President of the United States. And I guess my message to them would be twofold. Number one, Donald J. Trump is the only head of state in the entire world who is sympathetic to the nation of Israel at this moment in time. And he happens to be the head of state of the world's superpower. If I was in the cabinet of the Israeli government, I might not be attacking the only powerful ally that I have anywhere left in the entire world. And the second message I would give to some of those cabinet members, Bibi, to his credit, has not gone down this path, but to some of these cabinet members in Israel who are attacking the President of the United States, the other thing that I would say is that over the last 3 months, 2/3 of the defensive weapons that have protected your homeland have been built by American hands and paid for by American tax dollars. The problem for Israel is not Donald J. Trump. And anybody in Israel who thinks their biggest problem is the President of the United States needs to wake up and smell the reality of the situation that country is in. Thank you all.
Watch, and Israel will act alone.
Very interesting. So that was just, a compilation of some prophecies which have been fulfilled and some prophecies that, ought to be praying about. So I just felt, I should just share some of those things with you. That's what we've always done on this platform. So I'll meet you in the next one. As always, do check out our second channel. We'll be posting something that has to do with what is happening in the church, especially in Nigeria. God bless you.